What's going on, babe?
Hey, babe, how was your day?
It was actually pretty productive. Happy to be home.
Good. You know, we got a game today. Honey, you're a little rough around the edges.
I'm saying, I've been working all night, taking care of business, getting to the... You know what? I don't even want to talk about it. I got you. I'm not trying to be out here looking like a dusty, and that's why I'm excited to have T. Chanley as a sponsor of today's video. They help me start and maintain my skincare routine by making the entire process uncomplicated. Honestly, it's the best skincare system for guys like you and me. I recommend you start with their level 1 system, which come with all of the basics. A daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin, a 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun, and a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. My favorite part about T. Chanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. In addition to amazing skin, members of T. Chanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price and the ability to customize your box. And because T. Chanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal. Just click the first link in the description. You'll get 30% off your first box plus a free gift. Click the link and get started today. We're taking care of ourselves. Self-care, fellas, is the first step to be able to get to that bag, to take care of business, and be on top of things and level up in every aspect of your life. Feel the Teej, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for being here. Hold on, let me change my microphone. Y'all got me. There we go. There we go. You know, just getting the studio back together a little bit, considering that y'all made me take a little small hiatus and all of that. But welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Millionaire Morning Show. We are going to have some uncomfortable conversations today. And one of the reasons why we're having uncomfortable conversations is an interaction that I had when I was out and about during my quote unquote vacation. Now, many of you already know, if you follow my other channel, that I did cancel. Shout out to all of the people in the chat. I canceled the show for yesterday because Rita decided that she wanted to make sure I got my rest. Rita wanted to make sure I got my rest. So I said, okay, Anton is going to sit down. Q called me, said, Anton, no. The ladies be homie. They think that they know what's best for Anton from AntonDaniels.com. And I keep telling them, no, you don't know what's best. I know what's best. But I listened to them and I went ahead and I went and chilled. And I made a bet on the Celtics last night and I won like $1,000 or something like that at the casino and all of that. So shout out to everybody that think that Rita knows best, that think that Beautiful Disaster, that C that's in the chat, all of y'all, Alina, Just Jay, all of my ladies, Yvette, good morning, good morning, good morning. Shout out to all of y'all that think that y'all know what's best for me. No, she does not. No, she does not. Shout out to all of my ladies in the chat today. Shout out to everybody that rock with me. And shout out to everybody that think that Rita knows best. But Rita does not know best. And I released a video on my channel, on another channel today. And I'm like, yo, I can't do this. I cannot do this. Now, before we get into the show, because I know we're about to have some uncomfortable conversations, shout out to Stacy Rubin. Stacy Rubin says, Anton, me and you got beef. You never told me that you upgraded your position, that you do less work, but work more hours, increase stress level. So from now on, I side with Rita. No, Stacy, let me listen. I'm going to give you the insight. I appreciate the super chat. Shout out to everybody for the cash apps and super chats and everything. Shout out to y'all. Right? Listen. I got some updates for you guys, but I'm gonna get into that. So before we get into this Uvalde thing, right? Because Rita does not know what's best for me. Rita knows what she knows, but it's not always what's best, right? I came to the conclusion this morning after I sat down that I'm not built to just sit down and chill. That does nothing for me or anyone. Let me explain it to you. When I hear people when I'm on these coaching calls sometimes and they say, Anton, I want to create passive income. Now, is passive income possible? Yes. But most times, what I see more often than not is people, the intention is the reason why I'm perplexed when we having these conversations, because all they're trying to do is really be lazy. AKA, I want to just relax, not have to go to work, not do anything, be lazy. And that's not me, because I understand the balance, and I'm going to continue to work on the balance between the grind and then giving your body enough rest to be able to do what you need to do. I'm willing to work on that, but what I'm not willing to do is just sit on my face and act like that's my body repairing itself and resting. I'm not. Because people are lazy and they just want to relax and they just want to chill and they don't want to do anything. And so they try to frame it in a way to where they say, well, I want passive income. When in reality, they just want to sit on their face, chill, watch TV, play video games, and just do nothing. And I believe that that's when the body starts to die. Again, there is a healthy balance, but I've seen it time and time and time again. And anybody that's ever worked in a plant, because I worked in a plant, I worked in a steel mill, I worked in an auto manufacturing plant, and I worked in a supplier plant. The thing that I see people do all the time, these guys, they work and they whatever, they become dependent on the job, and they have all of their business intertwined, and all of their friends work there, and the local UAW this and all of that, whatever. Soon as they retire, as soon as they get comfortable, they die. I'm telling you, I've seen it time. These dudes work and they be healthy and they be productive and they be moving around and they be freaking 70, 80, 90 years old. And the minute that they retire, they die. The minute you stop moving is when you start dying. I'm not working to retire. I'm ensuring I have enough money to be able to do what I want to do for the rest of my life. We've already surpassed that. I retired at 37 years old when I got rid of the restaurant, and I was just buying pizza tickets, and I got bored. Literally. And so I was like, you know what? It's time to get back to what we do. We build. Think about it. If I would have just relaxed and rested after I retired in 2017, you and I are not having this conversation right now. We do not have our tribe. We are not building together. Possibly, very, very possible, we never get a Lapeef network. We never get a Lapeef network if I just go and I just fade to black. Who knows what it is that we're supposed to be building with each other in the future, because we don't know what we don't know. And that's why I tell people that your purpose is revealed to you through the work. It's not about how you feel about yourself. It's not about what you can do to make yourself feel good. And I think my purpose is this. And I took an assessment when I was 13 years old, and they told me that I was an introvert, extrovert, and that I could do this, that, and I'm good at public speaking. So I just want to nurture those gifts. Somebody prophesied over my life when I was 10 years old, and they said that I was going to do this and do that, and I was going to be an auto mechanic, and your purpose is revealed to you through the work. If I never came back out of retirement, 2017, had made enough money, was chilling, my daughter was straight, Rita was straight, we were good. If I never came out of retirement after 2017, we don't have none of this. Who knows where you are right now? Instead of kicking it with me or joining the Bag Chasers, being a part of the Patreon, I'm flying city to city, meeting y'all. I'm going to be in another city tomorrow. I'm actually flying to take care of some business. And in the interim, I'm also looking to visit one of the people that are the Bag Chasers that I have a close connection with, because I feel like they need that comfort, that insight, that in-person one-on-one. I'm coming to your city all the way across the freaking nation. I'm coming to your city. We don't have this personal connection if I'm just sitting, relaxing, and doing nothing. So of course it's a healthy balance. Of course, we have to be careful about making sure that we're not only sleeping 2 or 3 hours a day. I'm with you on that. But I'm not willing to just sit and just get a massage all day and then just say, yeah, I did everything that I'm supposed to do. That's not what we do. We push. We're looking to leave this earth in a better state had we not been here. And we can't do that by just sitting and watching First Take all day. I can't do it. I'm not built like that. I was not put together to be a rest and relaxationer. That's not what my father built me like. He built me to be a machine, a monster, a person that relentlessly step on your toes and beat down your door because I'm coming for your spot. That's what we do. That's the whole idea of being a bag chaser, is that we're going to leave it all out on the floor. We're going to get everything. It ain't just about the money. We are going to become the best version of ourselves. And I'm relentless. Listen, I failed and failed and failed in so many things in my life. And that's the reason why I keep coming to y'all, telling y'all that I'm a C student. I only needed one big victory. And then I'm over the hurdle. I'm on to the next one. Fail. I'm going to give y'all an update today. We doing, I pushed it out because, we had to, cancel some stuff in order to make sure that I got my rest and all of that. So we pushed back the meeting. And part of the reason is because y'all are not ready. Y'all doing y'all work. I'm going to give y'all credit in the Bag Chasers as far as us building that business in Atlanta. But y'all was not ready as far as location and the different things that we were supposed to secure, which I expected. So we're going to push it back. I'm going to put the announcement in the Patreon today. We're pushing it back. And then we're going to do part 4. I'm going to get the date in the Patreon, right? In addition to that, remember the property. Remember I was telling y'all I was buying property and I was buying land and all of this other type of stuff. And I did the first video where I gave you an update on exactly the property that I secured or that I made a proposal on. They just got back to me. We renegotiated. I have to pay a little bit more money, but I'm going to get more on the back end. I'm going to give y'all an update in the page. Shout out to the Bag Chasers in the Patreon. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I'm going to keep y'all updated. I am the realest dude and the most transparent dude on the internet because I want you to see how I built these things. I want you to see why I have a business mindset, how I make adjustments when certain things happen in order for us to be able to continue to move forward. I'm doing it, showing you how I'm doing it, bringing you along in real time, including you in the process because that's the best way to learn. And then in addition to that, I'm arming you with the tools that you need in order to become a millionaire too. I don't want it all for myself. I want you to have it too. That link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Also, shout out to Teach Henley, Uncomplicated Skincare for Men. Make sure you get that 30% off your first order plus a free gift. That link is in the description. Link to Fight Club. We're doing that tomorrow night. Even though I'm going to be on the other side of the country, we're doing Fight Club tomorrow night. That's going to be popping. We running this up. What you think? I got time to just be chilling? We got so many different things. I got people to put on. I got things to take care of. I got business to do, people to see, mountains to climb. I don't have time to rest. So listen, the job of the people like Rita is to try to slow me down. That's their job. Your job is to try to slow me down so that I do the best thing for me. My job is to conquer, and then I'll ask for forgiveness later. You asking for permission, I'll ask for forgiveness. That's the difference. I feel like the heat is up in here. Give me a second. We're going to cook today. We're going to cook today. Cool on. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, I think it's important for us to get down to the nitty gritty. Now, I want to share something with you guys as we go into this whole Uvalde thing, right? I want to share something with you guys, if you will allow me to. Again, link to the Patreon that's down in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I'm going to drop the link. I'm going to drop the link for you guys to be able to jump on and cam up. I do sound refreshed, don't I? Thank you, C. I'm going to drop the link in the description for y'all to jump on and cam up. Now, I'm going to tell you why. I've largely shied away from certain subjects. I have. I'm aware of what went on in Buffalo in a general sense. I'm also aware of what's going on Roe v. Wade in a general sense. But I don't really follow that information. And I'm going to tell you why. The Roe v. Wade situation is that I don't feel like I'm educated enough to really give an opinion. So I largely divest myself from that until I become a little bit more informed. That's A. But then I'm looking at this whole Buffalo and then this whole Uvalde, Texas thing and going on. And listen, again, I'm open to the possibility that I'm wrong, but I want to drop the link in the chat because I want to have an authentic conversation, right? But let me tell you what my thoughts are. And this is why I generally stay away from certain subjects, such as that. I want to share something with you guys really quickly. Now, when you see this, what do you see? I want to share a video with you guys really quickly. And this is the type of stuff that I read on a regular basis. I don't know if you know what this is, and I don't know if you can actually see what this is, but this is what I read on a regular basis. Okay? Let me share something with you guys.
We are following breaking news of a 4-year-old boy that has been shot when someone opened fire on his home in Detroit in the middle of the night. Thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, we are beginning with some very troubling news of yet another innocent child being shot.
Yeah, Local 4's Grant Herms has actually been following this story for us all morning long. Joining us now live from outside of the home where it happened. Grant, good morning.
Efrod, Rhonda, good morning. This is a tragic story here just on the city's west side. So just after 3 o'clock this morning, police say
Now, we all know that I'm from Detroit. And this is over near a neighborhood where I was raised at. But let's continue.
4-year-old boy was shot while he was asleep in his bed. It's the home here just over my shoulder with that single light on right there. Now, as the sun has come up, we've gotten a better look at this scene here. Police slowly making their way out of this neighborhood. They've been combing through evidence. They've been able to find 4 shell casings from a high-powered assault rifle, they say.
4 shell casings from a high-powered assault rifle. Boy, 4-year-old in Detroit. Now, this is my own personal neck of the woods. I'm giving you context before we start having this conversation.
They don't have any indication, though, of what this car was or who might the driver have been. They say this appears to be a random drive-by shooting on a street that's normally pretty quiet. The assistant police chief from Detroit Police was out here today giving us an update. And when we asked him just his feelings and his thoughts about this after yet another shooting of an innocent child.
Catch that. I want y'all to catch it. First of all, let me wish my girl Bella a happy birthday. I see you, baby girl. Bella, I need everybody, all my bag chasers, make sure y'all wish Bella a happy birthday. We love you, Bella. We rock with you. Absolutely. Fisher turned Hunter says, shout out to Anton. I truly appreciate your content. Shalom. Thank you, Fisher. Thank you for supporting the platform. Absolutely. But think about it. What did he just say? He said another child shooting. Another. Every day I follow certain profiles on Instagram specific to my neighborhood, my neck of the woods, and I kick it with certain people and so on and so forth. Every day I'm looking at this.
He had this to say to us about that shooting.
Yeah, you know what's really sad is that I've lost count now. I mean, really one is enough, right?
He's lost count. Lost count of how many child shootings is in Detroit alone. Now, keep in mind that this happens in every single hood in the country. Every hood in the country, this happens.
And this poor kid is just laying in bed. You can't even lie in your own bed in the middle of the night.
Kid is just laying in
and you have to
bed.
deal with this. So, I mean, enough is enough. We have to do what's best for our citizens, and Detroit deserves better.
Okay, so just give you a little bit of snapshot of what I see on a regular basis, right? This image right here is the image of a 4-year-old boy. This is a 4-year-old boy. Real talk. This is a 4-year-old boy. Now, let's mine this out before I drop this link. We have this monster, right? Because we don't want to discount what we see on a regular. Let me put my glasses on. I put on my red robe today because I said I'm a cook. I say we choose violence today. Now we got this monster, and his name is apparently Salvador. Salvador, I believe it. Yeah, Salvador Ramos, 18-year-old gunman. This guy shot his grandmother in the face, went on, crashed the car, ran up in a school, killed 2 adults, including a teacher, barricaded himself in an elementary classroom, and then shot every single kid that was in there. 19 kids, if I'm not mistaken, and this is the memorial, right? At Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. Now, they would say, Anton, focus your energy on what's going on, including Buffalo and Uvalde, Texas. And it's funny because the inspiration for this conversation came specifically from somebody that I ran into when I was going to the ATM while I was downtown. When I recorded the video that I dropped yesterday, right after I cut the camera off, they ran into me and they said, Anton, I love what you do. I never even knew that I was going to run into you. You really are out in the streets and having a good conversation and participating. I said, yeah, and we gave a hug. It was a woman. And I gave her, shout out to you. I'm not going to say your name publicly, but shout out to you. And she said, but I want to hold you accountable. I said, what the I kid you not. I'm out in the streets and she says, I want to hold you accountable. I said, me? Anton is out here doing Lord's work. The dark angel doing the Lord's work. She started cracking up. We laughed. And she said, but Anton, you not really tackling the stuff that I want you to tackle. I said, well, what is that? These shootings, what's going on in politics? I said, baby, I'm balanced. But in a general sense, we usually want to have authentic conversations, and it's only a limited amount of time that we can have certain conversations. So I deal with what I deem to be important in order to set a precedent at that moment. But we had some debate, but she pushed me. So I said, I'm going to tell everybody why I choose not to participate in these national conversations of what go on, including the Uvalde shooting. Now, some people may say, Anton, you are a bit insensitive after you say this, but I'm not. And I'm going to be honest with you. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to say it one more time for the people in the back, because you may not understand what I mean. Now, does it mean that it's not tragic? Absolutely not. It is horrific. It is bad. Of course it's bad. But they're using you. And let me tell you, again, I'm not insensitive. I'm desensitized. These are things that we seen growing up in the hood every single day. Right across the street, 2 houses down, crack house. And technically, we were supposed to be in a good neighborhood. Right across the street, you go the opposite way with Sherwood Forest. People that live in Detroit, they know what I'm talking about. Sconey Island, that's what we call it, the 8 Mile Sconies. Came home one day, crackhead, jumping out my window. My dad had to go grab the gun. We seen our young homies die every single day. So why should I give a fuck about what goes on in Uvalde, Texas? Let them deal with their own problems. That's not my fight. I'm trying to buy up the homes in my own neighborhood. I mentor young guys from 14 through 24. I'm trying to give them jobs. I'm pushing people. Why should I care about what's going on somewhere else just because CNN, Fox, and MSNBC decided to pick it up? So now they're using you. And you know how they're using you? Let me show you how they're using you. Now you got politicians licking their chops the same way that they did when it came to George Floyd and all of these other protests and all of this other type of stuff. I'm going to just be real with you. They're doing the same playbook and you never even seen it. I warned you that it was going to happen. You sitting here pretending like it's not playing out. Now you got Trump and Greg Abbott. They're going to go and speak at the National Rifle Association down in Texas this week in order to make sure that they have a conversation about gun laws. Okay, cool. Then what's the solution? Because I don't want the solution to be based off of what you see in the national news just because they deem this to be an egregious act. It is egregious, but let me tell you what's more egregious. Let me show you what's more egregious. And again, I'm open to being wrong, but it's important for us to have the uncomfortable conversations. Let me show you what's more egregious. I'm going to show it to you because I don't see this happening. I don't see this happening. Let me pause that. This is what's more egregious. This is what I see on a regular basis. This is just recent. Somebody tell me if y'all seen this. If y'all seen this clip on Instagram. I don't see no politician coming out to speak about it. I don't see nobody solving for it. I don't see no debate when it comes to gun laws. And listen, I don't care which side of the fence you on or what side of the aisle you on, but I don't hear nobody having a conversation about this. They pass it along and it's normalized. This is what I see.
We not even gonna play like that.
This is a child. This is literally a child. This is a child in school. Let me play the rest of it for you.
For the grade. Y'all see them killing.
Look at these kids. All of them is strapped. Every last one of them is strapped next to your kids that go to school with them.
In here. Hey, stop playing. Stop
Children.
playing with my sweaties. Hang on. I know how y'all come.
What you think about that? Does that bother you? Because I don't see nobody having a conversation about this. They got like 30 guns in a bag. In school. Look how young these dudes are.
What's that word, man?
Look at these dudes. They in the gym. They in the school gym during school hours, kicking it, chilling, recording it, ain't tripping, not even a little bit. Look at that. They got a bag of guns right there. So wait a minute. So now I'm supposed to all of a sudden get up in arms when other communities, and again, you know that I'm not the blackety black person. I don't believe in that. I rock with people based off of character, not the color of their skin. But a community is a community. And the communities that I grow up in is the ones that I tend to focus the majority of my outrage and resources towards. Why should I care about what goes on in New York or in Texas? Because it's national news? Because it's kids? Of course I don't want nothing to happen to kids. But at the same time, I understand that it's stuff that's been happening to kids in my own community for as long as I've been born. And nobody cares. Nobody is having a national election about it. Nobody is tripping about it. You got these dudes bringing all of these guns inside of these schools. They shooting. I get a report almost every other day from the crimes in the D. It's stuff happening every single day. Now, why should I care even a little bit, even this much? Why should I give a flying fuck about what happens in Uvalde, Texas? Please, somebody give me some insight and understanding as to why I should. I'm going to drop the link in the chat. I'm not even going to hold you up. Stacey Rubin, Anton, a few years ago, I was trying to have this conversation with a few folks, and I was told we don't talk about family business to outsiders. Then I was called a coon and a house N-word. Cool. Now it's important for me to bring it up. Because if I just bring it up out of the blue, they're not going to be concerned about it. It's not going to mean anything. It's not going to mean anything. If I just bring it up out of the book, let me play a little bit more of this.
It is, bitch.
That's what y'all looking at. That's what we dealing with on a regular basis. This is normal. So don't say I'm insensitive to what's happening. Say that I'm desensitized because this is my reality. This is what I'm used to. I expect to move. I hate guns. Absolutely despise guns. I do. I despise guns. Meanwhile, this is what they pitching to you. Let me drop the link in the chat before I get started. Let me drop the link in the chat before I really get cooking, because I want y'all to join in on this conversation. I'm curious. Call me out on it. Say I'm wrong. Say, Anton, you don't know what you're talking about. Cool. I'm with all of that. Let's have a conversation. I'm willing to be wrong. I'm willing to concede if I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. Please have your camera on because we got to protect the panel. And this is not even a popular subject. All right, cool. I just dropped the link. I pinned it to the top of the chat. Just dropped the link and pinned it to the top of the chat. I'm very curious as to what everybody is talking about. Chris, it looked like your camera is a little cloudy, fam. I'm going to let you fix that before I bring you up. But meanwhile, this is what I'm looking at, right? Right after that, this is what I'm looking at. Trump and Texas Governor Greg Abbott, days after the school shooting, is scheduled to speak at the NRA meeting. I'm going to start bringing y'all up. Let me go ahead and bring y'all up because I'm curious as to what y'all think. And I want to have an uncomfortable conversation. Maybe I'm off. What's going on, Jay? OG J Speed? I can't hear you, big dog. You muted yourself.
Okay, what's going on?
What's going on, big dog?
I ain't saying you're totally wrong, man, but I'm thinking the word you. Oh, I unmuted myself.
Yeah, I can hear you. You good?
Okay, so I think you're a little insensitive. The word you choose to use. I don't
Like
give
what?
a fuck. When you use that word, I think that really just blowed up your whole sentiment as what you was trying to discuss. Because when you use harsh word like that, it really just sucks the air out of what you were saying. And what you were saying was correct as far as by being in where you raised up and you got insensitive. And let me just tell you too, not only is NBS, CSD, CBS, and all the rest of them, CNN, using people with these stories, they use you with the stories from your own neighborhoods too. So don't act as if they don't have a certain approach they take in these situations, because it's a lot of things happening in our community we don't talk about, and not even with black boys being missing. Black boys over this country, over 100,000. We're not talking about people just running away from home. We're talking about absolutely disappearing.
Let me ask you a question, J Speed. Do you care about what's happening in Uvalde, Texas?
I care. Yes, I do.
Do you?
Because I know a reason why I care, because I know we as people, human beings, we copycat things, and that's all colors.
But how is this any more egregious than the things that's happening every single day in every single hood across America? And why should I? Because honestly, I'm going to disagree with you, because I think that we need to be more direct in exactly how it is that we feel. Because I know one of the criticisms against me is that, Anton, maybe some of the things that you say could be said differently. I'm gonna just tell it exactly like it is. I genuinely don't give a fuck about what's going on in Buffalo, in the supermarket. I don't care about what's happening in Texas. I don't, man. I genuinely don't,
So
because I honestly believe that it's a disgrace that the first time that they start having conversations about solving for issues in certain communities as being destroyed is based off of what's happening then to them instead of what's been happening every single day in these communities. And you don't get people attention by being nice. You got to get people attention by being real. And you just got to say it, bro. Why should Again, I'm open to being wrong, but why should I take out of the tone of it, right? Cool. We can disagree about that. Why should I give a fuck about what happens in Uvalde, Texas?
Because I just like what I just said, man. We have copycats. We have people who would see something like that and copycat it in your own neighborhood. Let me just
hold on. Give me 1 second. Hey Lou, give me a peace sign, big dog.
Okay.
In the back. All right, cool. I'm gonna add you up.
Let me just say this. People, mother and father die every day. That's every day. People, brothers die every day. People, kids die every day. But when you get a story that one whole family was in a car, a tragedy, and died in that tragedy, that's a difference than one individual.
Wait. Who got working going on in the background?
Who building on the goddamn?
Well, just no. You still stick around. Just mute yourself when you're not talking. But go ahead, J Speed.
So think about it. If you hear a whole family died in a car crash, that's totally different than just one person dying or your son dying or something like that. If the whole family died, it has more of an impact. So
but
when
look, see, like I look at this comment right here.
Finish.
I look at this comment right here. Babies got killed, bro. That's why.
Right.
Literally, kids get killed every single day in the hood, and nobody cares.
Can I make my point?
No. I'm just reacting to this comment.
I know.
Nobody cares, bro. So if you can't clean up your own house in your own backyard by first focusing on the things that's impacting you directly, which is one of the reasons why I say that we need to focus more on the local elections instead of the national elections. Why should I care just because CNN and Fox News is having a conversation about it? I see dudes bringing in guns. Bro, I grew up with metal detectors. I went to the best high school in Detroit, the best public high school in Detroit, bar none. And we walked through metal detectors. They walking through metal detectors right now. This is not new. Why should I start caring about that?
Anton, there's people caring about it all the time. I mean, you say people don't talk about it.
No. Why should we? Why should people that are not in that specific neighborhood, that does not live in Uvalde, Texas, why should anybody outside of Uvalde, Texas care about what's happening in Uvalde, Texas? That's all I'm asking.
This is what I'm trying to tell you, bro. That there's people working, even though you say nobody really cares or nobody's doing anything about it. Look, man, I'm in the back channels, man. People are working in your city. They're working in Washington, D.C. No, they don't get publicized. No different than a lot of people get publicized for making positive content on YouTube. It's always the bullshit that people want to tune into. But that don't mean people's not working in the background. Why can't we do both? Chew gum and walk at the same time. I'm just saying, whatever usually at somebody else's door is coming to your door sometime soon.
No, that's not true. That's not true. And I'm going to tell you why it's not true, J Speed, because it's the opposite. The reality is that what's already been at our door is going to everybody else's door. That's the difference. You saying that it's copycats. I'm telling you that it's the same thing that happened with drugs. Drugs have been infiltrating communities for an extended period of time, and nobody gave a fuck until it was the opioid crisis, and it was at the front door of the people that actually was making the laws and having certain conversations. What they should be worried about is solving for it on your community's front first to make sure it don't get at their door. If they really cared, they would be focused on that, but they don't want to have that conversation. Nobody want to have that conversation. And say it ain't copycat. Listen, I guarantee you, nobody is running up in the hood with a gun to go mass massacre anybody. I guarantee it won't happen.
Oh, okay. You can guarantee that it happen, and then I'll wait to see the day when it does happen, and I hope not to see it happen.
Because we got Columbine. We got Uvalde. We got all of these situations. I don't see that happening in the hood.
Oh, okay. So, just like I say, we as black people in this country, We have copied a lot of other people culture, and so don't say that they just start talking dealing with drugs, man. It depends how far you want to think back, Anton. If you got limited way you want to look at things and you want to think back in a certain period, y'all can shake your head all you want to, but see, I can go back all the way back to the heroin epidemic in New York and bring it all the way up to 2022. So if you really want to have this conversation, let's have a decent and truthful conversation about drugs and guns and stuff like that.
When did drugs started becoming legalized in America?
Listen what I just say. Ronald Reagan and his wife went on a campaign. Jose Wim went on a campaign in 1982. Matter of fact, we came up with the slogan, just say no to drugs at Morehouse. It didn't come from Nancy
But
Reagan.
why do
So
you
don't tell
think
me-
that is? It was the
But listen-
incarceration of people within those communities. It had nothing to do with getting drugs off the street. It had everything to do with, oh my God. All right, hold on, J
I
Speed. Hold on, J
understand-
Speed.
I
Hold on, J
understand what
Speed.
you're saying.
Hold on,
I
J
understand
Speed.
what you're
Hold
saying,
on,
but
J
I'm just
Speed.
saying-
Hold on. I'm not going nowhere. I've literally blocked off my calendar to have a conversation today, specifically an uncomfortable conversation. I do want to include everybody else in it. I don't want to remove everybody else just because me and you
Yes, sir.
are having a debate. Popcorn style. Anybody that want to join in the conversation?
Yeah, so I actually have to jump into me in here in a second, so I'll be quick. Now, I understand. Do I care necessarily what's going on down in Texas directly? I care to the point of I made sure there was a school shooting a couple years ago, and I checked with my local school district what was our security measures in terms of physical security that was in place to protect schools from being soft targets. I look at this as a concept of we don't have shootings happening in courthouses. We spend a lot of resources to make sure people don't walk into police stations and courthouses to shoot places up, but it's happening in schools. Now, I understand that schools are meeting places, they're high volume traffic, people are going in and out. I reached out to my school district and I said, okay, what are the things in place that way people just can't walk up in the school and shoot it up? They gave me an answer I'm happy with. I understand the security measures. When I drop my kids off every day, I see like how the security works in terms of physical security. I'm comfortable with it. So it's like if other school districts are not doing it, I hope they do, and that's all you can do about it. That's like the way I look at it. But Anton, you are correct. A lot of this stuff has been going on in our neighborhoods for years or decades, and now it's spilling out, and now it gets attention. Like, as crazy as it sounds, you don't have schools in urban neighborhoods getting shot up because in a lot of places, like in Detroit, you can't even take a gun into the school. You can shoot them up outside the school or on the way to school. You can't shoot a kid up in the school district. Even in elementary school, you can't get away with that because it is they've done security measures to protect the structure and the people inside. Other districts, other people, they need to realize that this is a problem for them and they need to address it accordingly. Just like with the drug thing. That was an interesting how that coalesced, how that all came together. You had state budgets being tight. You had people realize there was a lot of things that went into the drug thing becoming legal. There was a lot of people with other interests.
Hold on, Dub Will. Can you mute yourself until you start talking, Big Dog? I just wanted to make sure.
That was a situation of you had several factors coming in play where people realized this whole drug war and locking people up is probably not the way to do it. It was medical providers, it was people who ran state budgets, it was corrections people. They were all just kind of sitting around saying, this is not the way to deal with this. And they knew that from the get-go. They knew that 20, 30 years ago, this wasn't the way to deal with it. But it was a way to get elected or make money to lock people up. And then they realized that as you locked all these people up, like I remember I sat in on a conversation with a large HR firm, and they said that because of rules for hiring, they said people had certain crimes or stuff like that, they couldn't get hired. Well, what was happening is it was seeping into certain people from certain demographics who went to maybe Michigan or Michigan State couldn't get a job because they had certain offenses on their record. So now it was impeding their progress. But, 10, 20 years ago, if my buddies had a minor drug crime, they couldn't get a job at XYZ company. And now it's just the end of it. But now somebody who went to the University of Michigan and had a computer science degree can't get a job because they got caught with a bag of weed. Now we need to change the law.
Yep.
Because now it's on their doorstep.
That's exactly what's happening.
And so I understand that's how the game is played. But And we can get into shit is right or wrong, but that's how it's played. That's all I'm saying.
Let me pivot for a minute. I want to get. I'm gonna come to you, D. Will, in a minute. Lou, what are your thoughts?
Hey Anton, can you hear me?
I can hear you pretty good, my friend. How you doing?
Doing good. First of all, it's my first time on your platform, and I really appreciate what you're doing. And I've been binge watching your videos as soon as I found out about you because I think you're doing right by the community at large, not only the Black community but all of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was born in Brazil, so this conversation that the media has been spewing out about gun control, I mean, people have been dying in Brazil by the large numbers since I mean, people die in Brazil
It's
every
normal.
day from gun violence.
It's just
It's
normal.
absolutely normal. I mean, at 10 years old, my dad taught me how to use a gun to protect my mother. This is a normal situation that happens all around the world. And it seems like in America, this is an issue that somehow has been or became problematic but for political reasons. But in Brazil, I mean, this happens all the time. Every day someone is dying from gun violence and or otherwise.
Yeah.
So I think that this has been politicized, unfortunately. Is it egregious? Of course. Is it a problem? Yes, it is. But I mean, this is completely normal in other countries. People die from gun violence all
It's
the
normal
time,
here.
every single day.
It's
It's just
normal here.
normal. It's just
Listen,
normal.
you can't go to a certain city and drive down certain streets with certain colors on and stop at a stop sign. You can't do that here.
Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, and it's funny because in Brazil it is illegal for you to own a firearm, but the death ratio is ridiculous.
Yeah.
People die every day.
Try to
People
go
die
into
every
the
day.
listen. If you come to Detroit, it is a phenomenal city. It is growing. It is awesome. Do not go into the red zone. If you don't know what the red zone is, then you need to Google
480 die, stand up, right?
it.
480
You do
die.
not go into the red zone, family. Do not go into the red zone. Same thing with certain parts of Chicago. Same thing in LA. Same thing in New York. Same thing. Don't go to Overtown in Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Don't go to Overtown down in Miami. You're going to see something that you never seen before in your life.
I also think that, and not to cut you off, but I also think that there's a larger problem, which is the economical problem. I mean, we haven't had a raise in a long time. Let's just put it that way. Rent is going up. Cost of food is going up.
Well, that's
Cost of
because the
gas is going up.
government don't know how to manage.
They don't know how to
I
manage
ain't
the
gonna go
money.
into that.
I see people outside my house, you know what I mean? Like 4 people looking inside the hole and the hole isn't getting filled up for weeks. What are we doing? Paying people $40, $50 an hour. So the community has nowhere to turn to but violence in order to make ends meet. And I think that's the larger problem. All this gun situation, I mean, that's ridiculous. Let's just keep it a stack. I think it's ridiculous. The larger problem is the economical problem we're having. So,
Dub Will, what are your thoughts, big dog? You muted. I think you muted, Dub.
Yeah, I think he's muted up too.
Yeah, let me see if he can unmute himself. Dub Will, you still muted, big dog. Say mute yourself. You got to unmute yourself. Well, until he can figure that out, go ahead, Jay Speed.
Well, he said something very important, and I think it goes along with this conversation. He said, in different metropolitan cities in America, there's shooting, on which crime they say is going down. But let's think about it. When we was doing the red and blue out here in California, if people had nationally, Black people had participated in, and it's been a focus on them. I know every city has their own gang, but it was not like the Crips and Blood. Crips and Bloods moved all over this country, man. And y'all could have said that was a California problem, but look where the problem's at now. It's all over the United States. Among all the other gangs that was in Philadelphia, Chicago, Detroit, and New York. But look at how the Crips and Bloods moved in all these metropolitan areas. because y'all thought it was just a California problem. Now it's everybody's problem.
But
And so you
isn't that
said
the
there was
point though,
not
J
mass
Speed?
shooting. You said that was not a mass shooting, but we just had a brother who go on a train, did a mass shooting, but he didn't kill nobody because he couldn't shoot straight. And that's one of the problems with the guys in our community. They look at too much TV and they want to turn their guns to the side and shoot like that. And that's why they hitting
But isn't that
roaches
the
and
whole
rats and
idea of it,
kids.
J Speed, is that because it was not dealt with appropriately when it was only in Los Angeles, now you have a problem where it's out of control across the
Well,
entire country?
okay, but see, this is what I'm talking about. This is where these conversations get very sticky because when pro-black people come out, or people come out that people don't have a disdain in their brains or their mouth about these certain types of people. When they start to saying things, and first thing people want to say who looks like us with melanated skin, well, I don't like that person. I don't trust that person. I don't this and I don't that. Too much damn finger pointing. And so when people bring these issues up, even the lady who went and brought the issues up about rap music, gangster rap, people turn to, here we go. So what I'm trying to say is, we don't have to work that things get on these major networks, or even have to wait to think that people are not even working at these problems locally. Just like you said, it's just they just don't get the airwaves. They don't get the notoriety as the other people. What I'm trying to say is we can do both at the same
No, J
time.
Speed, I think you off on that. Not only do they not get the notoriety, they don't get the
So that's what's your
resources.
problem with thinking.
They don't get the
That's what you get for thinking.
resources. Well, I mean, it's a fact that
That's
they
what you
don't
get
get
for
the
thinking. Still,
notoriety,
no,
but
it's not a
it's a
fact. It
trickle
is not a
down
fact,
effect,
bro.
because when you don't have visibility into a problem, nobody actively solves for it. So what happens is you don't get the notoriety, you don't get the resources, you don't get the education, you don't get the funding. People are not visible as far as what the real issues are, and then you ultimately get a problem to where it continues to spread across. What you seeing happen with these little, listen, they said the dude was feeling a certain type of way because he got bullied. Think about that for a minute. I'm going to just set that right there, and then I'm going to come over to Blacks. What's going on, big dog?
Hey everybody, how are you? Can you hear me? All right, great.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Cool. Hey, I wanted to go to the point where you guys were talking about Detroit and Chicago. I'm from Chicago. I live in Texas now, but I grew up on the south side of Chicago, and I went to a school called South Shore, and that was down the street from the mosque over there on Stony Island and everything. And I can tell you, we had security, metal detectors everywhere. We had security on every floor. Nobody could get in with a weapon. If they did get in with a weapon, it was usually some sort of blade. I say all of that to say that massacres and gun violence happen in the city like Chicago or New York or big cities and inner cities all the time. The problem here is that it, like you were saying previously, it isn't publicized. And we're not copycatting anything. We wouldn't be copycatting anything because this is something that persists in our communities all the time. I've had times where I've had to get off the CTA because there were people menacing me. I've had to run home for blocks because a gang of dudes were trying to kill me, literally kill me. They weren't trying to beat me up. They were trying to rob me, kill me, take what I had. I didn't have anything, maybe $3 to buy maybe a pizza puff when I was in high school. So I just think
But
the
wait a minute.
conversation.
Let me pivot that. Hold on. Stop right there. And I'm going to come back to you. Let me ask you a question. Now, the solution is to defund the police in that community. But they are putting more enforcement officers and trying to put more resources into these communities where they have mass shootings. Now, why would you defund the police in a community that needs, right? And two things can be true at once. You can add resources as far as the health, mental health advocates. You can add, communities where you can start to fund jobs, and create businesses and so on and so forth. But why would you defund the police? In addition to that, violent crimes are continuing to go up in communities where they started to implement that. Now, why would they do that in those communities? But then
Why
you got
not?
the whole world going down to Uvalde, Texas.
Why
They
not?
all
Why
listen. They
not?
already start
Why?
bro.
Why not for
Listen,
fun?
think about this.
Anton,
Why
you
not
want
for fun?
to hear something real
Listen,
cynical?
bro.
I got something
Legislation has
cynical.
already started to move in these branches based off of what happened on Tuesday. It took 2 days. 2 days for them to start having uncomfortable conversations and for your legislators to start coming together to try to figure out what exactly is going on. 2
Because
days.
it's politically expedient.
2 days, bro. Come on, man.
And other issues, it takes years for them to move.
You asked a question, bro, but was that really a question, or you just making a statement?
That was rhetorical. I mean, listen, we popcorn style. Everybody didn't listen. Let me set the precedent. Wait, J Speed.
Okay,
let me set the precedent of how we gonna do this from now on, or going forward. Now that everybody's had a chance to speak, we popcorn style. Anybody can say what they want to say whenever they want to say it. Challenge anything you want to say. Do your thing. Go ahead.
I'm gonna challenge what you just said about defunding the police department. I think when you really get into that, you get into people who are think tanks who are making these statements. When you get into the real, what they're talking about, we're talking about people. We're talking about police department who are using military style equipment and never been trained with it.
But if you talk to
anybody in those communities,
if you talk to the people in those communities, they say we don't want to defund the police. We want more police. That's what they say.
Who was in the military? Raise your hand. Who's in the military? Raise your hand.
The whole defund the police movement came from protesting from an organization that got rich off the back of y'all protesting. Come on, man. That came from Black Lives Matter, bro.
Oh my God.
It go bigger than that. It go bigger than that. It go bigger than that. When you start getting equipment that you are really not really trained to, a lot of
they are trained on it. The majority of the police officers are trained on that.
No, they're not.
If they're not trained,
yes, they are. You're a liar. Yes, they are. They are. My brother's a police officer. My father's a police officer. My cousin's a police officer. I did police work while I was in the United States Army. If you're in the military, you police. They're trained on it, sir. They're trained on it. They're completely trained on it. Now, you can have people who are overzealous. A job is a job. A police officer is in a job.
Hold on.
I'm telling you, it's a lie, man.
Listen.
You're capping.
I'm a mute y'all if y'all can't get it together. Listen. I said popcorn style. Popcorn style, hoping that us as adults, we'd be able to have this conversation without me having to pick and choose who can speak and when they can't. Come on, y'all.
I got you.
Have to balance. Listen, we can have civil discourse. We can have completely different completely different opinions, but we're gonna have to balance ourselves as far as how we can speak, when we can speak, and extend courtesy. So that I believe in arguing. So yeah, you can argue a little bit, but when it go on for the next 2 minutes, nobody can hear anything. They can't hear us.
Okay, so all right, so my whole thing is when we talk about whether it's to defund the police or whatever that's going on, let's just talk about what goes on in our communities. I think what's going on with our Pacific communities is the reason why it moves slow because we have a whole infrastructure in place that pushes back against the things that would necessarily clean it up. Also, too, I think the people, the powers that be, you have to understand, in a lot of Black communities, we don't realize is we're sitting on very valuable pieces of real estate lots of times. It's close to infrastructure, energy sources, water sources. So in a lot of ways, they're letting us basically either say we don't want to be there and we divest ourselves, or we kill each other off, or whatever. Basically, they're letting us just work ourselves out of the situation because we're sitting on something that they ultimately want. So let's kind of get to what that is. Another thing is too that we have going on is that the people who commit the crimes in these communities, they're from those communities. And so people become very sensitive because there are maybe only 1 or 2 degrees removed from the people doing the crime. And so they feel like addressing the problem is in proxy an indictment on them in some ways. But the thing is, we have to decide who's more important, the 99% of people who are not committing crime, or it only takes about a drug crew, Anton, what takes 20, 30 guys to tear a square mile? That's all it takes.
I don't even think it take that, to be honest with you.
I mean, it doesn't take that many people to tear up a square mile of a city, and we have continually allowed we give those people preference over people who are working taxpayers, and this is what we get. Now, again, in terms of what we talk about, what's in Texas, we have to decide: are we going to put the physical infrastructure in place to protect soft targets like schools? We don't let people walk in and shoot up police stations. We don't let them walk in and shoot up courthouses. Are we going to give schools the same priority? That's all I'm going to leave it on the Texas situation. That's it. That's where I leave it there. On the larger gun violence that we deal with, when are we going to prioritize taxpayers in law-abiding citizens over the people who are causing the problems because of it might be too close to how it hits home to us. So if I have a cousin who's dealing drugs and doing XYZ or running numbers, running prostitutes, am I, just because of how I think it might reflect on me, that you come and pick him up and lock him up, and the effect it might have on the immediate people around him, because maybe he makes $10,000 a month and he is taking care of our grandma, or he's doing this, doing that, and we're benefiting in some way. Are we willing to remove these people from our communities, that way things can normalize and set in, so that way actual tangible growth can happen? And we have to make that decision.
Well, the decision is not that hard, brother. I mean, it takes the community, it takes the police department, and all that.
Black
Let
Lives
me
Matter.
finish.
Black Lives Matter. Okay, Black Lives
Okay,
Matter
no,
got
no, no.
$90 million to
Okay,
shut down.
okay. I'm
To
not
shut
talking
down
about
Disney.
Black Lives, but see, sometimes y'all just come on and just want to attack one, like B1 now. The 2001 B1 stands for Black First. That's not like the old B1. So what y'all? Sometimes y'all come out and y'all attack these new generations. Let me finish, bro. These new
It's the same
generations,
thing.
no, it's not the same thing. I came up and y'all read about it. I lived it, bro. So what I'm trying to tell you all, if when I was coming up and you had community policemen, people didn't feel like they were snitching on people, because they were policemen who not only knew everybody in the community, they stayed pretty much either right outside the metropolitan city or right there in that community. But you got police officers now who don't come up in these communities, and they come and get all the benefits as being a police officer. Especially in California, you get half of your house. If you buy a $500,000 house, you become a police officer, you get it for half price. So it ain't as if they don't get benefit for the jobs they doing. But what I'm trying to say is, these other police officers I'm talking about, they live somewhere down in the whitest community that don't have any really contact with black people. So when they do come in contact with black people, sometimes we talk loud, sometimes we do certain things. So they're not used to that. So they see that as a threat. They're not trained. When we're talking about training police officers, why is it the same police officers who have the same training, the black officers going in these white communities, and when they have problems in these white communities, they don't do the same thing as the white police officer, but they got the same training. But we keep trying to tell we need to retrain police officers. No, you need to get them idiots off the damn police force. I boxed for the police force for
I
21
completely
years, so I
disagree
don't
with
have no
that.
problem. I don't have no problem with police officers.
We need
I
more
really don't.
cops
I
and we
boxed
need
for
more
them.
funding for cops.
No,
That makes no sense.
you can say what you want to say, bro. That's you saying what you need to say. That's your opinion. But what I'm just
Okay.
saying is, do you have your feet on the ground? Are you out there in the quicksand? So you
All
don't
I'm
know
saying,
what you need other than
all I'm
just
saying
watching
is this.
TV and reading
All I'm
about
saying
it.
is this. All
You
I'm
don't know
saying is
what you
this.
need if you
We
ain't
need
out there.
more money. We need to fund cops. We don't need to defund. My sister is Navy, and I raised a black sister. Let me just put that out there, right? She's Navy.
Well,
I understand where you're coming from. All I'm saying is it takes money to train people. This is America. Everything takes capital. And when you take the
who don't know
capital
that?
away, you also
Who don't
take
know that?
away the
We're not
training.
talking about taking. Wait. We're not talking
But
about
you're
taking
talking,
money.
you said
No,
defund the
listen what I'm just
police.
saying.
That doesn't
I
make
just said
any
no.
sense.
Listen what I just said. See, when y'all hear defunding the police, first thing y'all thinking that is not to recruit police officers, not to get more police officers. Y'all thinking one thing. It wasn't to defund the police officer as far as recruiting and hiring more police officers. It was
Are you
putting
talking about
these.
reallocation?
We was
Reallocation is
no,
different.
no. We're talking
Reorganize,
about putting
reimagine,
we're talking
restructure.
about
Let's
putting
say
these
that.
military equipment in these police officers' hand, which some of them
What
do have
military
military.
equipment? Tell me. Name the weapons. Name the weapons. Tell me what military equipment they're using if it's a paramilitary organization.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Let me get some understanding, right? I thought defund the police literally meant that you take resources away from what you were doing or the budget that they used in order to pay cops, right? And you divert it towards other things.
No, it means to abolish. They want to abolish.
Defund means to remove. That's what they want to do.
Yeah, they abolish police completely.
I have never heard BLM say reallocation of funds. All they say is defund.
I have never heard.
I thought that meant that take the money away from.
The gentlewoman who is over Black Lives Matter said it.
Is our police officer, bro? I ain't never heard no police officer say he wanted to defund police officers from recruiting and hire police officers. That's why you have the Black National Police Association.
No.
So don't act like you don't have no problem.
J Speed.
Brother, don't act like you don't have
J
no problem.
Speed, I'm asking a question. The question that I'm asking is
I just laid it out for you.
You don't even know what the question is yet.
The question you asked first was defunding the police.
I'm asking a question.
Okay, go ahead.
Jesus, hold on for 1 second. Let me just finish asking a question. So does defund mean to remove capital? Because in my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, that means that they have allocated a specific amount of the budget towards the police department for them to do whatever it is that they're going to do. And that defund means to take resources away, which ultimately affect how many cops that you have doing what jobs and where, and your ability to be able to pay so many cops, including overtime and so on and so forth. Is defund the police literally removing from the budget and allocating it towards other things is what I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay. I just Googled defund because that's important, right? Prevent from continuing to receive funds. That's it. That's what defund means.
Again, Anton, you're a smart man. You run a business. You're a salesman. All right. So when corporations having a rebuild and they start cutting the funds for certain things, it's cutting funds to get rid of what? The waste. All right. So you take the money that you
restructure.
Yeah, restructuring. However you want
to say restructure, please. Don't say defund.
Okay.
Say restructure.
Okay, that's why I said a better word. That's why didn't I say that was
there you
a better
go.
word?
That's the right word to use.
Beginning?
But restructure and reallocation is not as marketable as defund.
That's for the person, the police chief, or the board of directors of the council of your city to be able to restructure from that part being defunded. All right. So that's what I would call waste. I would call waste. Just downright waste. You have waste in everything. So you have to go into restructure thing. So, but just like the brother down on the right-hand side, I have a lot of brothers that police officers, really. I have a person on my Rolodex I can call a retired police officer and a retired from the military. And his name is Mark from Anaheim. I would love to get him on this right here to let him talk about, because he don't just come on one side of it. He comes straight down the middle. He just comes being so truthful, bro. And what I'm trying to say
is... I agree with you. But I'm just saying, with this conversation where it's going, you're not allowing us to come down straight. We are coming down the middle with it. And it may sound one-sided, but let me just say this. With my experiences with police, and I'll tell you this, in the city of Chicago, and I know, brother, you lived in the city of Chicago for a while because you said you were part of FOI, correct?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. And I respect that completely. Yeah, absolutely. And I respect that completely.
I'm not reading. Hold on. Give me a second, y'all, because I just want to get some understanding. I don't want us to just be like needlessly arguing things that's not true, right? When I'm looking at these articles, right? Give me a second. I'm going to bring y'all up. When I'm looking at these articles, it's saying something completely different than what's being said on here, right? I'm saying it said these U.S. cities defunded the police, and this is this was written, I forgot when this was written. I think this was late 2021, right? $870 million cut from the police, right? And then if you go down a little further, It says in 25 cities such as Denver, Oakland officials moved to remove police from schools, saving an additional $34 million. Folks might look at $840 million as a drop in the bucket. I'm looking at specifically, it's saying that they're removing police officers from certain spaces because they're cutting it from the budget.
Hence what I said, when they say they want to reallocate or they want to defund, that means to abolish.
Like, okay, so give me a second. So like San Francisco, it's a lot of crime. It's went up exponentially. San Francisco officials pledged to divest, and this was in 2021, $120 million from the police over 2 years with plans to invest in health programs. So they removed it from the police department and they allocated it towards other things. Now, am I off or did I miss it?
No, you just found what you wanted to find.
You're not off because that did not decrease the crime rate. That didn't decrease the crime rate, so you're not off.
This is The Guardian. This is not like some fly-by-night website. This is literally The Guardian.
I don't care if you got it from New York Times. You just came on this show today saying how they are using you, and you went and found an article go along with your narrative, bro. So that's what I'm just saying. Is that from the people? Or that, wait a minute. If that's from the people that I'm talking about, that's not from the people I'm talking about. That's from the same sources that you had a complaint with when you first came on here.
The Guardian?
Okay. No, listen what I just said. This is from the same type of sources that you say is using black people, these big three, and all these other publications. You just said when you first came on here that these are the people who are using you. And I'm saying for the grassroots people who are speaking like me, are you talking to them? You talking to me now?
No, I'm looking at, listen, you can literally, JSP, give me a second. You can literally, they're just reporting it. But the only thing that they're reporting is information that's publicly available. You can literally go and find any budget. Let me remove this so I can get us all back up here normal. Give me a second. You can literally go and find any budget for any city, and you can see how they've done the budget differently than the year before. What does that have to do with who's reporting it? Is all I'm asking.
Hey, Anton, you the one came on here hooping and hollering about somebody trying to social engineer your mind by looking at these stories. But when I bring up your same testimony about what the article you just pulled up, you having a problem with it.
So you're saying that the only people I need to talk to is the people that got the boots on the ground.
No, I'm just saying it's the same way you said. Don't give a fuck about what's going on in Texas, but what's happening in your hood. And I'm saying is, if you really want to know what's happening and what's really been spoken, you got to speak to the people who are in the grassroots in your neighborhood.
I am in the grassroots. I am putting my money in the community. See, that's the thing. Hold on. JSP. Hold on, JSP.
Because I'll tell you,
I don't really think you know what I do in my spare time. When you're talking about people that's really in the communities and participating, you literally, listen, one of the reasons why I document my life is because it's evidence of what my life is really like. It's evidence of the people that I mentor. It's the monies that I put in the communities. It's the houses that I buy and put people in it. It's the participation in the growth of other people. What are you talking about?
How did this become you? I didn't say
because you're using me as an example.
No,
and you're saying no. You're saying that I need to go and talk to the people that got boots on the ground as though I'm not already there kicking it with them.
Okay. When the last time you went into a mosque and talked to a minister, bro?
A mosque?
Yes.
I have not been into a mosque, JSP.
Okay, then when the last time you talked to any minister in any mosque in Detroit?
I don't go into mosques. I go into listen. Wait. Let me correct you. The mosques are in Dearborn, right? Dearborn, it has the highest per capita mosques in Michigan. There are more mosques in Dearborn, Michigan, than there are in Detroit. In Detroit, they're churches. They're not mosques. And I talk to the community leaders in churches on a regular basis.
Okay. And
would you like to see our meeting minutes?
Okay. No. I ain't trying to make this about you, bro. I was just talking about.
No, you asked me a question. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about my background.
No. I'm talking. Yeah, if you want to make this personal, we can go at it, bro.
You made it personal.
I never had no problem. No, I didn't. I was talking about something totally different. But see, these the kind of buttons you like to push, but you got the wrong guy. Good try.
Who
'Cause
pushed
can
buttons? I
forgive
asked
you.
questions.
No, I'm just saying, you got the wrong guy. Good try, bro. You're a salesman. So I know you're a salesman. I know
What are you talking about? Listen, hold on, wait.
Because it wasn't about
J
you. It wasn't about you.
No,
It was
this is
about
what
me
happened.
saying-
Let me explain to you what happened.
I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened.
Let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you what happened. And then you can dispute it, right? Because I'm not muting you, so you can say what you want to say too. But what happened was you disputed what we were defining as defunding the police. I brought up an article to get more clarification and to use as a reference point for us to be able to debate it. You didn't like the article, and then you jumped off the rails and started talking to people on the ground when you can literally go and reference any budget in any city in America. And then we start talking about whether or not who's got boots on the ground and all of that. That's where it devolved into. But let's stick to the point. What is wait. What is defunding the police? What does that mean?
Okay. No. I'm not just gonna let you go ahead and spit on my grave, bro, and then I ain't gonna say nothing.
I didn't say nothing negative about you.
Okay, no. I'm just saying I'm not gonna let you spit on my grave because that ain't how it went, bro. You went and found an article, and I use you.
I literally Googled and I said, "What is defunding the police?" Okay, and then it referenced a specific article.
Okay, and that's what I had a problem. Say you would have found something to your narrative. I said. You did the same thing that you said when you first came on here, saying how the big three try to social engineer our minds into caring about this and that. That's how it started.
I didn't. And that's not what I said.
And then I said, if you really want to know what's been said in the street, that's people who are boots in the ground. They don't get that kind of notoriety. They don't get that kind of media. They don't get that kind of print. I say, if you really want to know what we really mean when we say something, you got to talk to the people whose feet are in the quicksand. That's what I said. Now, you took it personal saying, like, I was attacking you.
Now, what does that have to do with? Now,
who's feet are in the quicksand?
Here's my follow-up question. Here's my follow-up question. What does that have to do with budgets and defunding the police as far as how much money? Let me finish. As far as how much money they're allocating towards specific resources.
Hey, Anton, all due respect, you do a lot of Samuel French double talking, and you do this to
what
a lot
are
of
you
people.
Talking about?
No, I'm just saying you carry conversation from one end. You carry a conversation from one end, then you flip it over like you just didn't say anything. So what I am
okay, let's say I said it. Cool. I said it. Okay, listen, OG, I said it all. Okay. Now the question still stands. What does this have to do with exactly what defunding the police means and you taking money from one resource and putting it to the other? Because we all know that in order to get certain things done, you need money. What does that have to do with that?
Okay, it has a lot to do with it because a smart guy like you who run business, who speak to people about business all the time, by not wasting time, not wasting money, then you can go into any business. I believe right now, Anton, you can go into any type of business and be able to just take a scope of it and look at it how it's ran and see how that operation is ran, where you can take money from one part of the company and use it for another part of the company or use it somewhere else where it can serve a better purpose. I don't believe that the people I roll with, the people I'm talking about, that we want less police officers, we want less.
They're removing the money from police and moving it into different other parts of the government, though.
Well, I see articles. I deal with people who deal with this right here, Anton. When they talk
what articles and what people and what are their names?
Okay, I just told you, our expert 101, Mark from Anaheim. He's been in this business.
Mark from Anaheim is your friend who is a veteran. You just said he talked straight down the middle. Right. You didn't tell me he was doing anything.
When I'm just saying, when I say straight down the middle, let's know what straight down the middle mean for me. All right? He tells both sides of the story. That's what straight down the middle to me. He don't come in half-cocked on one side of the narrative. He tells it straight down there. He's an analyst. All right? So what I'm trying to say is, that's what straight down the middle mean to me. So you get to have both sides of the story, and then you can come up with your own mindset, what you believe to be the best approach to anything.
Before the article came up, I was going to tell you my other side of the story.
Right?
J Speed, I just want to let you know the way that you act and behave in this situation, it makes people like myself or the gentleman who's down in Texas from Chicago, it makes us just tune out and not even want to deal with stuff because you say you're on the ground, you need help, you need this. Okay, we want to listen, but the thing is, we're sitting here talking about how things can work and how we see it, and you're just yelling and screaming about stuff, and it's just like how would I deal with you? You get what I'm saying? Like, you're
Well,
just yelling
number one, I'm one of them old retired lines that Anton don't like. You know what I mean? I'm one of them old retired lines, and
Okay.
I'm not the one. Wait, let me finish, bro. You say what you want to
said
say.
lions,
You gonna
like
say
the
something
animal?
about me? Look, you say what you want to say about me. Let me say what I need to say right about now. I'm gonna tell you what I don't like. Okay?
Okay.
What I don't like, people with real sensitive ears who can't hear the truth sometimes, regardless of what the volume is. I'm not out here as being a motivated speaker. I'm not out here in a popularity contest. If you like my truth or don't like my truth, if you don't like the tone I say it in, that's your personal problem.
Wait. J Speed, I got a question for you. Wait, stop. J Speed, true or false? True or false? The very first thing that you said when you came on this platform is that I need to police my toning and how I say things, and that's affecting what's happening. You literally said that affects how things are happening and how people are being impacted. That you held me. You said, because I said, why should I give a fuck? And you said
you're speaking out of two sides of your mouth. He also
said that I needed to police my tone because it mattered.
He don't need no cheerleading, brother. He can talk for himself.
You said that I needed to police how I said and what I said because it made a difference and it mattered. Now you're saying that you don't give a fuck about how we take it and all of that.
I said to him, no, wait. I wasn't talking about in a whole perspective of things. When a man says something to me, come to me with some slick shit, I come back at that man. I'm talking to this man right here. I'm not talking to everybody. I'm talking to this man with the slick shit he just got to lay on the table. Hey, wait. I'm talking to you, bro.
No.
I'm talking to you personally. I'm talking to you personally. I'm not talking to everybody in the chat room or anybody else. I'm talking to
do you see the hypocritical?
No.
Did you just see? Wait,
No,
Jason.
I like that slick shit. I don't like that slick shit. I don't like that slick
What's
shit.
slick shit?
Yeah, that slick shit you try to slide in there.
Which one?
You try to slide in there, bro.
So J Speed.
All of it is slick shit.
All right, Joseph. So J Speed. All right, whatever you just said, I'm going to charge that for the game. I'm going to charge it for the game.
On your ass in a minute.
Let's talk about what
I'm going to get burned back on your ass in a minute. I'm going to tell you something, motherfucker. I heard what you said. Trying to bring that slick
J Speed, you literally, that was the first thing you said when you came up to the panel, though.
No, listen what I just said, bro.
Anton,
look, I said it to you because you were saying it to a bigger audience.
You're talking to that same bigger audience.
No, I know, but listen what I just said, Anton. I'm talking to a man. I'm not talking to your chat room. I'm not talking to the people who might be listening to this further down. I'm talking to the slick shit that this brother tried to slide on the table. He did it very eloquently and very nice. He just said that it still was slick shit.
He didn't say nothing slick. He didn't say nothing slick.
Brother, your slick shit might be different from my slick shit. Can we agree along with that?
How is the balance sheet? How is the balance sheet slick shit?
Okay.
Slick shit is slick shit, bro. That's not slick shit. He just said you loud. That's all he said. He said you were loud and that you were talking. We can't do that, man. We can't do with you just rambling on and being loud. We've let you talk. You've been talking for the
honestly, J Speed, I think you're trying to walk back.
No, I ain't walking nothing back.
You've been speaking.
Listen. Because you know me. I'm a straight shooter, so I don't beat around the bush and none of that. I think what you're trying to do right now, and this is just my personal opinion, I think what you're trying to do right now is you're trying to turn it into a joke because you don't want to acknowledge the fact that you were wrong, and you hypocritical in how it is that you assess in these situations.
Anton, I explained myself. You didn't like my explanation, brother. You know what you can do with it. You know what, right? I explained that I was talking to an individual, not a mass of people. You were saying it for the mass of the people. You don't give a fuck. I'm telling this gentleman right here with the headset on, I don't give a fuck what he said. That's what I'm talking to him as an individual. So don't try to make mine the same as yours, bro. You was talking about a national thing. You didn't.
So wait. According to this, so like this super chat says, the principle still applies regardless of all. So it don't matter. So it only matters when we talking to a whole audience. It doesn't matter. Wait. I'm just trying to get clarification. It doesn't matter when we talk to each other. like that. It only matters when we talking to the group as a whole. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly what I'm saying. I'm saying you can have an
Okay. Thank you
individual
for the
problem with an
clarification.
individual. With an individual that you don't have with a mass of people, bro. We could be in a room in a circle, and we can be speaking as in a circle. But there's one individual who try to slide some slick shit in, and you know it's some slick shit, or you hear it as some slick shit, and you deal with that individual.
So it's slick
You ain't
because
dealing with the whole circle.
he addressed specifically your
I'm not
behavior.
gonna explain. If you don't know what
Wait,
slick is,
wait. Let me just get clarification. He addressed you directly. He didn't say it behind your back. He didn't create a video about you or none of that. He addressed you directly and said that, yo, this is why we can't get things done because you're basically, in a summary, you're unruly right now. And now it's slick.
No. If you want to talk about unruly, bro.
He just said something straight up. That was all, man.
Wait. Stop playing these fucking checker games when we playing chess, bro.
We're not playing. We playing Go. You know what Go is? You know how to play Go. I doubt you know how to play Go. I doubt you know how to play Go, man. We playing a whole different game, bro. But let me tell you something. You've been saying nothing. You've been talking in circles, and everybody knows that you haven't said anything. We let you talk graciously. Okay, you can be loud and we can talk over each other. But let me just say this one thing, man.
JSP, you gotta give him some grace. JSP, give him some grace. Let him say what he want to say.
I just want to say, defund the police. I'm trying to get back to this point. Defund the police means abolish. Patrisse Cullors has already said it. Black Lives Matter has already said it. AOC has said it. They don't want police. So they want to leave you hanging with no weapons, no police, and dealing with the buffoonery in your own hood. I don't have to be, if I'm a police officer, I don't have to be from your hood to care about people. Number one, because you may say these people aren't from where they police. That's nonsense, okay? That's number one. Number two, policing, from my perspective, when I was in Chicago, living in Terror Town, if you're from Chicago, you know where Terror Town is, going to school in Terror Town, you know the people, the color of the people who would stop me? It wasn't white people. It was black people, black police officers every time harassing you, even if you were doing nothing. I'm hopping on the bus. I'm getting on the doggone train. I'm getting in my vehicle. They profile me, and it's black people doing it. So I don't know where you're getting this from, brother. I don't know why you're saying that the police officers.
Hold on, JSP. You know what a gatekeeper is? JSP, hold on. Let him finish making his point.
I'm just saying, I don't know why you're saying that you have to be from the community in order to police it. I'm just going to that point when you made that point earlier.
JSP, hold on, y'all. Hold on, JSP. I'm going to let you respond.
That's all I got to say.
Hold on, y'all. I'm going to let him respond. I'm going to let you respond. I got to acknowledge all of the people. Listen, I appreciate everybody that's continuing to support the platform by sending super chats, that's joining the Patreon, that's tapping in and emailing me for personal coaching. I appreciate y'all. Let me give a special shout out to James Miles. Thank you for the super chat, big dog. And I'm going to continue to put up the super chats. I'm going to give special acknowledgments to people that send 50 or more, because I know that y'all are going out of y'all way to really, really support the platform. But I'm going to continue to put up different super chats as we have the conversation. And I got to stop the conversation and be able to acknowledge y'all personally when y'all sending certain amounts. So go ahead, JSP, do your thing. Thank you, James Miles. And thank you to everybody that's sending super chats and everything.
So number one, brother, if you ever know, you from Chicago, so you should know what a gatekeeper is. That's number one. That's number one. A lot of black police do things in our community they would never do in the white community. And we know that. We know they know better. We know they're going to be disciplined differently. So they know better. That's why I say it's the same ones who are trained in the same training who conduct themselves in our community in a certain way and conduct themselves in another community in a certain way. So it can't be training. It has to be the individual. Do you understand? It has to be the individual. And so when you say all statistics shows when there's community policemen, when the policemen know the community makeup and know the people in the community, it makes their jobs easier. All studies have shown that. So I don't know where you don't know where I'm coming from. I didn't say they didn't care just because they live there, but I'm just saying is a person who has a certain standard of a life and a cultural life, and then their job is that the police job is number one thing now in America is to find trouble. All right. So if your job is to find trouble, like anything else in life, you go find some damn trouble. You understand what I'm saying? They are paid to find trouble. Now we can say they're paid to protect and serve or whatever, but all that covers they are out there to enforce the law because they're not the law, but they are out there to enforce the law and find trouble. That's their job. But if you find in trouble with people you are foreign from and don't quite understand and never been around that culture of people, then your job becomes twice as hazardous and twice as hard. And all statistics and studies have shown that when police officers have a vested interest in that community other than just a job, it's a better job for them, less hazard job for them, and the community welcomes them a lot better.
Hey, Jay Speed, have you ever seen that interview that I did with Nathan Daly?
Yes, me and Nate we talk all the time.
So you know that it's not enough for these guys to live in and have a vested interest in the community. You know that they're still hated. You know that they're still targeted. You know that they still have a difficult time, that they're underpaid, that they're
my father did it.
That they're
they burned down his garage.
Yeah, they're overworked, they're underpaid. That is very difficult for people to see the difference between the good cops and the bad cops.
Okay.
And I don't disagree with everything that you said. I'm just adding context. Or
if you go quote
you're not gonna let me finish.
Oh, I thought you were finished.
No worries.
So
my thing is because I don't want to get away from the subject at hand as far as the defunding the police thing. I think that they're underpaid. I think that cops are underpaid. I think that firefighters are underpaid.
Completely underpaid.
I think that a lot of the people
underpaid.
I think that the people that serve our communities are underpaid. So when you take that into consideration, defunding the police or removing resources from them, whether it be payment, whether it be training, no matter what it is, it costs money. So when you remove resources from a specific department,
you reduce morale.
Away, I believe that that's probably the worst thing that you can do for a community.
Anton, can I say something to your point real quick?
Can I say this right quick? Can I say this right quick?
Go ahead.
All right. Nathan, see, this is why me and Nathan get along. Because he's one of them type of guys said straight down the middle. This brother had actually been drugged down the street.
Yeah, I know. I did a whole show on it.
I know that's why I'm getting your roses right now, because you did have this brother on, and then you brought him back on to go more in detail into his experience as being a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
What makes him a lot different than a lot of people who have these conversations? He actually worked the job. Not only did he actually work the job, he went through and seen the same thing that you were seeing as citizens, but he come out with a different type of mentality. He's one of the most cool, level-headed brothers I ever seen, as far as other than Mark Anaheim. He's one of the brothers I ever seen as far as police officer. And one thing he do say is, if we turn out to a blind eye, what's really happening into police forces, just like any other company in America or corporation in America, we have good and we have bad. That's doctors, lawyers, anything. And for us to turn a blind eye that we can't go in and make things better as you make yourself the best of yourself, Anton, that's what you always talk about. As an individual, we can do that with a company too. I never want to see I want to hang around people who say they don't want police officers. That's idiotic to me. What I do say is, if we will have police officers and they go have that much power in our community, they're going to have to be accountable of what they do, other than policing themselves when they do things bad. They're going to have channels where when a police officer shoots someone that's armed or not armed, that they're going to have to be accountable.
Yeah, nobody's disagreeing with that.
They take drug tests just like everybody else.
Nobody's
when something like that happens. So what I'm trying to say is, there's a lot of things we can do to make police officers and citizens' communication a lot better. I'm not
And
one of the ones
defund and
who out there
reallocate
policing.
money from them is not the answer to that.
Okay, again, bro. So you
I'm
keep
just going
looking
back
at
to your
one
original
thing.
point.
You think
Going back to your original
about
point.
let me tell you something. You think about one thing. I know reserve police officers
That's
who
what you
don't get
said.
paid a cent. This is what you said. I know a reserve officers who don't get paid a cent. Okay?
Where?
They just have
where?
Go ahead.
In Charlotte, North Carolina.
They did that. Wait
California.
Wait a minute.
And California.
You're not using it as a
what
talking point
no.
in
What
order
I was trying to show is when people have a vested interest in humanity, it's not always based on money.
It is based on money.
But money runs the.
It is very much based on money.
I didn't say that, bro. But I don't take away the importance of money, Anton. Don't get your robe all tight. What I am saying is sometimes people have invested interest in humanity, and they do things. I know police officers,
and they still want to be compensated for it because if you let them do it long enough, they're gonna get.
Listen, what I just said. See, people know what I'm talking about when I say reserve officers.
I know what you're talking about,
exactly.
But I'm just telling you that don't work for the larger communities in these urban environments where you see all of this stuff happening.
Anton, if you say anything don't help, you'd be surprised of the reserve officers who ride through parks and stuff, and just the presence of them riding through the parks and certain places.
Wait. What country are you living in, Jay Prince? I mean, Jay Speed.
Damn,
you gotta be England.
California. I'm living in California, but I learned about reserve officers in Charlotte, North Carolina, Mecklenburg County, who are boxed for 21 years. I know what the hell I'm talking about.
Them guys out there in Cali, they're gonna have you playing basketball in Pelican Bay. Bro, I'm telling you, they're not playing no games out there. You ride around there with your flashlight on, talking about, I see you if you want to, and see what happens.
Stop it, bro.
In Chicago, you remember when Mayor Daley was mayor of Chicago? JSP, you remember when Mayor Daley was mayor of Chicago? Of course you do.
Yes, I do.
And you remember when he implemented the program, the Officer Next Door program? And he also said any person who worked for the city of Chicago had to stay within the city limits, including aldermen, commissioners, police officers. Well, my father was a police officer during that era, and he bought a home in Roseland on 110th, and right off Halsted. And I remember when we moved in there, it was promising. There were a lot of police officers on that block, but also a lot of drug dealers. So we were intermixed. You know, we lived right next to a drug dealer. And they didn't like the fact that my father was bringing in a neighborhood watch, etc., you know, trying to be a good steward of the community because he believed in, well, he didn't necessarily believe in what was going on, but he was making a bad situation better for his children. So then they didn't like the fact that he was willing to tell the government what was going on in the community and get certain people locked up. And so what did they do? They decided to try and burn us out, man. I remember the night vividly. So my point is that, yeah, you can have vested interest in a community, but it doesn't stop the community from hating you. For some reason, we've been anecdotally and specifically told as Black people to hate the police. Now, there are instances when police are not to be trusted, okay? Nothing exists in a chasm. I understand that. I understand where you're coming from. But I'm saying, in general, police officers have your best interest at heart and in mind. Because without them, then you see what happens. Widespread anarchy. You see what happened in, Seattle? With the Chas during that the summer of love. No police. And what did they do? They took over the city center, killing people, robbing people, stealing from people, harassing people, beating people.
It was looking like the Carter out there.
Okay, and then the corporate conglomerates gave to them. Ben and Jerry's gave to them. Costco gave to them. They were giving them toilet paper, paper towels, ice cream. They were giving them money, millions upon millions of dollars, so that they could exist.
Brother.
So all I'm saying is, look, I'm going to end it here and you can respond. Look, all I'm saying is that we have a better chance as a community. And I'm not just talking about black people. I'm talking about people in general. We have a better chance with police around because people left to their own devices, we're evil, dude. We're evil. We do what we want and we will
Survival
take what we
instincts will
want.
kick
If
in,
you
and
don't
that's
have
it.
people if you don't have checks and balances, man, which a police is a check and a balance, we will end up flat on our asses and broke
Only
and
the
tore
strong
down and
survive.
destitute.
It'll be a
Bro,
Straight.
ruckus.
bro, I don't know from what my conversation that y'all are listening to. You say you get where I'm coming from, okay? I
I
have
get it.
not directed. Okay, I have not
Okay, J
directed
Speed, J
any.
Speed,
Wait, 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 wait.
J
Let me
Speed, real
finish.
quick.
Can
Hold
I? You
on.
say I
We
can
make you
answer
king.
him?
No, real quick.
Okay.
We make you king. We make you king tomorrow in the city of Chicago. 4 things you're going to do to improve everybody's lives. Tangible things. Name them right now. 4 things.
Well, can I answer that question when I answer my brother
Okay.
right here? All right, I can't dance with 2 people at one time. Okay, let me answer.
You do a pretty good job, man. You do a pretty good job.
Yes, yes, sir. So I don't know what a conversation that y'all might be listening to. I have gave the most highest respect to police officers. To be able to box for them for 21 years, I got to have some considerate understanding of who they are, what they are, and what they represent. So again, what my thing is we as people, human beings in all levels of all different types of jobs, occupations, and everything else. One thing we do have to understand that police officers have more power than a lot of other occupations do. They are able to carry a gun, they're able to carry a badge and enforce the law. They're not the law, but they're there to enforce the law. And so I think that we are not in a generation of a lot of military people joining the police department. A lot of these guys was trained to kill. And once that switch been turned on, I don't think a lot of killings are racial motivated. I think the way that they have to even look at police officers who are maybe do a 2 or 3 tours and war. And then the same people they wouldn't even hire at the post office anymore when they stop hiring them at the post office, when we get used to get all these poster shooting, are the same people we're making police officers today. That's one thing. Go back to your statement over there. Number 2, the mayor did come up with that program. And just as Malcolm X, just as Martin Luther King, and just as a lot of other people who was trying to do out there and do the right thing, their houses was bombed, or their houses. What did happen at number 1 right there? Their houses was bombed up. So I get this from one of my motivated speakers. He always say, just before, when you're going out there and you're getting in the exercise and you're trying to get yourself in shape, and you be running and that side start burning, and you know you got to complete this last 1/4 of the mile. Just before you start to make a change in your body where it can build up your stamina, that devil come knocking at your side and you will stop. If you stop, that means you never get to that next level where that door supposed to open. And just because plans was implemented and things bad happened, don't mean that the plan was not good. Sometimes we just have to stick it through, bro. We just have to stick it through. I think it's going to take both sides to be retrained and be re-educated. Well, we understand we're all a human being. We want the best for our community. We want the best for the police department and everything else. One of the things I do when it comes to police officers, I give them the highest respect. But I know there's some troubles in these departments, and they need to be. And Nate would tell you the same thing. That's what he worked. That's what he does. That's what he does now. And so we're going to have these conversations, these honest conversations. Whatever happens in Texas or happens in Detroit and happens in Chicago, Cincinnati, whatever, man, we just have to be conscious. I ain't saying you got to care about it, bro, but you got to be sensitive and be conscious about what's going on in the world, and especially right here in the United States.
So we're concerned. So today's subject was about a school shooting, and that's why I said when I came on that we need to worry about are we fortifying our school structures just like we do our police stations and courthouses, because those places don't get shut up. That's the subject, and we're talking about all this other stuff. We are talking about So Anton said, should we care about what's going on here? Blah, 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 blah. And I said, well, I focused it on, do we protect soft targets? That's why I kept that focus on. You're talking about this other stuff, and it's like, look, there's all sorts of things with crime theory and policing tactics. We can go on and on about. We're talking about,
it's all connected, bro.
Huh? No, but that's what you're
It's
doing.
all connected. No. It's all no. It's not what I'm doing. It's all connected. Do you understand? Okay, let me show you why it's connected.
You can't solve every problem at once.
No, but if you don't know what the problem is, you ain't gonna solve none of it. If you don't know what the problem is, you know what? I was talking to a paramedic just the other day. You know what he told me? In the last 5
I'm done.
years,
Thank you. I'm done. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Salute. He just told me in the last 5 years, if he can't withstand his own argument, then hey, he done. He flipped. Okay, so the paramedics told me just about a couple weeks ago. You know what they told me? They seen an increase in their calls. And I said, what do you think it's contributed to? He said, brother, you in the same field. You know what it's contributed to. It's contributed to MEDS, meds. He says it's been over 65% of all Americans are now on some kind of medication. And it has a lot of these kids been on medication since they were in the first grade because they had some behavioral problems. And so he says it's all connected because they deal with the police officer. When I had to call them to my house, sometimes they had to call the police when it's 5150. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'm trying to say is all this stuff connected. I can't understand why you would have more security at a bank than you would have at a child's school. That is our most precious that we have for the future, because our children are our future. Why would you have more protection at a bank or a club or anywhere else that you would have for a place that our children have to be there from 4 to 6 hours? And you don't look at that as being one of our greatest resources. And if you want to help in that way, because in the court building, think about the court buildings. I don't know about where y'all at, but we have private security doing court now. We don't have the sheriff department. They still the bailiffs as far as bringing the prisoners in. But when you first come in, they have well-trained private security companies. Why we can't, if you don't want to do police, why don't have well-trained private security companies at every school? That's our best resources, people.
Because ethos, previously, just to your point, to answer that question, because previously ethos and specifically human decency was a thing. It's not anymore with the advent of social media. And when I say social media, I mean specifically spaces like Twitter, Instagram. You can run the gambit where everybody has access to everything all the time. People don't care anymore. So to your point, you're saying, how come we don't guard our most precious resource like we do a government building or bank, etc.? It was because it was generally accepted that children were off limits, and they don't do that anymore. Now we have to start thinking about things like that. Now, I'm not saying that mass shootings never happened before. I'm not saying that children were never murdered before, but I'm just saying the frequency you're seeing it around the world, even more so now, we're just a godless world. And I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, and we have to change, like we change relationship. We have to change everything in life. You know what I mean? As change come, we have to change with it. That's why we have amendments in the Constitution. Yeah.
I can concur with that. I can concur that changes need to happen. But divesting from your police force and not allowing people to arm themselves aren't two solutions that I'm willing to embrace.
I'm not going to embrace that need. I'm not going to embrace people not being able to arm themselves, because the criminals don't care. They love if you have to, it's just like back in the day.
I'm just saying that's where the politicians are going. I'm saying that's where they're going. You know what I mean?
I understand that, but yeah, they always teasing for the next election. They always teasing for the next election. We know that,
right?
So we know they
made a point.
I think people are a little more into. I really believe with YouTube and all these alternative media that we have today, I believe people are a little more educated when it comes to understanding what politicians do. And there's some old folks still around. There's some people who still believe. But if you really see what these new platforms are doing, you got all the majors who are advertising, who are running their shows on social media now. So
I
we
will
are
say
getting
it
a
is
little
harder
more
for them to lie. It is harder for
right.
them to lie because
Right.
good old Joe Biden said the other day that once that 1994, not the crime bill, but the assault bans, the assault rifle ban was once it not was relinquished, but once it what's the word I'm looking for, man? Once it elapsed, then he said gun violence tripled,
Expired.
and that's a lie. That was a bold
Right.
faced lie. That's a simple Googleable query. You can find that information and you can know that they're a lie. But I'm just saying the majority of the people won't do that. They'll just take at face value what he says, what political pundits say, what shills say, and then they'll just be like, we need to do something. We need to defund the police, and we need to get rid of 2A. You know what I mean?
Well,
And
hold on,
and
y'all.
that's
Hold
not
on.
a
Let me
solution.
come to Antoine. What's
I
up,
think
Antoine?
fact checking is alive and well in 2022. You know, I
Let
really
me
believe
ask you.
y'all
I
younger
want to ask you
generation,
guys a general question, if I can.
younger generation is doing a hell of a
Go ahead,
job
brother.
Hold on.
at footholding
Wait. Hold
people.
on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. I want to come to Antoine real quick. What's your thoughts, bro?
Appreciate it. Well, I'm
Good
from
morning.
Detroit originally, and I'm here in actually Houston, Texas. So I know a little bit about the situation. I'm also a firearms instructor, also here in Houston, Texas. So, but yeah, the media has completely just blown this out of proportion. Like they're talking about no background checks. He was over 18. The state of Texas says that you can buy a rifle. You can't buy a handgun before you're 21. They did have police there at the building, armed already there. So it's a lot of facts that haven't came out yet, and everybody's getting emotional, I guess, about the whole entire situation. And granted, understand, it's definitely death and everything. But like as Anton said, I also went to Cass Tech, and we had metal detectors all the time when you walk into the building. So those things weren't really happening. So they were happening outside of school also. So it's just so many lies. And at the end of the day, they want to take the firearms from citizens. They're not taking firearms from criminals. Let's really think about that.
Criminals will
So
always
they're
have
trying to have
guns.
control over us. They're trying to tell us how to think. So
Yep.
yeah, we need
Can
to
I ask
be
you a
very
question,
woke.
bro?
And yes, sir.
Can I ask you a question?
Go
You
right
say
ahead.
police officers. You say police officers were already there. I thought that was a border patrol who was doing. They was doing training close to the school, and they were the
No,
first on the scene. So is that not true?
that's not
Yeah, that's
true.
not. I mean, they
Oh,
were
you saying
near,
there
but
was
there was actually an
actually
armed guard. There was
police
actually an armed
officers?
guard at the building. It was already
They
an armed
were
guard at the
there,
building.
and they got out.
Exactly.
They got
Let me
out.
ask you guys.
That's what
Let me ask you guys a question. Let me
the
ask you guys a
border
question.
patrol. What is the story about the border patrol who got shot and who was the first to approach the guy? Is that true
Well,
or
they were
not
just
true?
in the area. They were just in the
I
area.
know they was in the area, but there was one who came in contact.
That one I don't want to
He was the
speak on because
first
I'm
on
not
the
sure. I just
scene
know
in
that they were in
contact.
the area, so I don't want to misstate anything at all.
Okay, so he was the first. He supposed to be the first that came in contact with this guy. Who took him down?
Mm-hmm. After they took him down, after like 3 or 4 police officers had gotten to the building.
Yeah, but I'm
And they
just
took their
saying
sweet
that.
time getting in there because I guess they didn't have a plan of action of what to do.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that the person who supposed to took him down was a border patrol who was in training who made first contact.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't want to mistake because I don't know all the facts on it. I just know that there was an armed guard already there at the school. Just like at most
Okay,
Texas schools down here already, there's always like a police chief or a sheriff sitting outside of the school armed and everything.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to the news that I'm getting, not from the big three, but from the back channels, that there were some training going on with the border patrol. They heard it over the radio, and he was the person who made contact and took him down.
Yeah.
Now there
But
were
yeah,
some shooting. He was shooting at police officers. Yeah, they didn't get to make. They did get contact from him. It was a couple. I heard there was a couple police officers got shot or got hurt in that situation, but he was the one who made contact and took him down.
Yeah, and my question is, I guess for the media, everybody, like, what laws could have stopped this from happening? That's I guess my question is.
None.
Everybody, they're like everybody.
And that's my point. I want to ask you guys this when it comes to laws and things of this nature, right? I don't know if you know this, but Amazon has a facial recognition software that they're giving to some police departments everywhere around the country, right? My question is to all of you guys, how much of your privacy are you willing to give away as an individual in order to solve these problems? Because they need to be solved somehow, and it will come from legislation, but legislation will implement some things that you may or may not agree with. So with the facial recognition, because let's get it straight. In China, this doesn't happen as often, right? Facial recognition everywhere. So how much of your own privacy as a US citizen are you willing to give away to help solve these issues? Because I think that's an important thing to touch on real quick.
Well, here in Texas, not very much, because they already passed legislation concerning facial recognition software on Instagram that companies outside of Instagram own. I can't remember the name of the company, but there are certain filters you can't use anymore on Instagram because of that very thing you're speaking on.
And it's funny when we talk about defunding or reallocation, but our taxes are not decreasing. I don't see my taxes going down, right? When you
defund, because we dropping bombs on other countries and killing kids, women, and families.
No, we're just giving $40 billion to other companies. We're just giving $40 billion to other countries, and then we get kickbacks.
No, but I'm just saying,
$40 billion.
The war machine. This country is ran like a corporation now, and the war machine makes money regardless of who wins or who loses. When you start talking about killing, and this is why I say you can't take this conversation all the way to the root with me, because I can tell you where the roosters will come home and start, laying their own eggs. So, but what I'm trying to say is, in California, I think, like when a child get missing or a dad or a mom go pick up and kidnap a child, everybody's phones go off in California, in that media area. They have the
same here in Texas.
When you speak a word, believe it or not, you think I'm lying. Have a conversation over your phone. Just have a conversation using one of these strange apps, and wake up the next morning. Just say you were saying you were thinking about buying a new stove. I guarantee you that the next morning a new stove was going to be on one of your searches, and you never even went and applied. So I'm just telling you, we already have that technology. The NSA, NSA, I mean, that's what all that was.
It doesn't work like that, J Speed. It doesn't work like that. It's called cookies. It's called well, the way that it works is based off of your search history and the things that you observe and the people that you follow. It's all an algorithm that comes together to recommend products and services based off of what you're interested in. So it's not just talk. It's not just talking or speaking or anything like that. They can't do that. As a matter of fact,
did I lead you to believe that I was just talking about it didn't work like this? I had a conversation with one of your channel guys last night who does this stuff, and it does work exactly what I'm saying.
What industry do you think that I'm in, J Speed? What do you think that I oversee? What type of employees do you think that I have?
I don't care really, but do you work for the Pentagon?
Jesus Christ! Do
you work for the Pentagon?
I'm gonna let y'all cook. I'm gonna let y'all.
Okay.
Cook.
Do you work for the Pentagon?
This is insane. Sir? No, I don't work for the Pentagon, Jason.
Okay, then we can't have this conversation.
Yes, we can, because the Pentagon is literally behind, and they license our technology in order to implement a lot of the things.
Bro,
what do you think?
They got shit. They got.
What do you think all of these bidding? Hold on, stop, J Speed. Stop, J Speed. Where do you think all of this bidding? Listen, the federal government on so many levels is behind private business.
They think they make.
Why do you think that they're taking bids from Microsoft and Amazon in order to implement their cloud infrastructure? Why do you think that NASA is no longer in the same category or stratosphere as SpaceX?
Oh, NASA's gone.
It's no NASA anymore. And it's funny because listen, J Speed, you know a lot.
Here you go.
But you don't know everything. Just because you older, listen, it's okay to learn something new.
Bro, don't be hating on my age. Don't be hating on my age, bro.
All right, y'all
Hey,
got it.
back to the question. Back to the question my brother asked me, man. You said how much of my personal freedom am I willing to divest or willing to give up?
Yeah, how much
And
of your personal freedom are you willing to give away to solve these issues? Because look, I don't see any other way from solving the issue. In reality, on a local level, people are moving around, people are doing things. Facial recognition in mass is coming. Mark my words on this. It's coming.
It's already
oh,
here.
Not at the level that it needs to be. Trust me, not at the
Bro,
level that it
bro,
needs to be.
you
But
do a
it's
felony
coming.
now in the United States, you gonna get your DNA. Don't
I'm
tell
not
me
talking
that
about
facial
being a
rec-
felon.
No, no,
I'm
no,
not
no.
talking about being a felon.
I'm just saying what they tell you is not.
I'm talking about, listen, in China, this is what I read, okay? If you jaywalk, there's a camera, and that camera is attached to your social credit score. And if you jaywalk, you get in trouble. That's the
Again,
level that they're at.
I
yeah,
understand,
so
folks. Just because they ain't telling you, that don't mean it's not implemented.
okay, we're not saying that the technology doesn't exist. We understand that, but
I want
I
I want to
understand what
get
the
y'all
brother right
final
here is
thoughts
saying.
because Anton got to prepare for a meeting shortly, within 25 minutes. I do want to get y'all final thoughts on this.
I just want to know what the solution is. Like, what's the solution to this
Oh,
problem?
good luck.
Because no
Good
one is
luck with
solving the
that
problem.
one. Because listen, if there's
No one
one
is
thing that
solving the
I know,
problem.
Lou, if there's one thing that I know,
I'm listening to you.
is this: we're
Mm.
all going to identify the problem, and nobody is ever going to propose a solution.
There we go. And it all goes back to money in the end, in my opinion.
That's your
My
Agreed.
opinion.
final answer. That's your final
Let's
answer, Anton.
let's increase the
Oh
taxes on the
no! I
people.
already have my solution. I said mine's very early in the show when I first started, and I live it. And my solution is to actually on an individual. Okay, this is my first solution, right? My first solution is to first get my own household in order, right?
Yes,
On
sir.
an individual level, the only way that you can truly affect what happens on a mass scale is by first getting your household in order, right?
Yes, sir.
That's A. And
That's a
then
Jordan Peterson
this
line
is
right
one
there
of the
too.
reasons why I say you got to be selfish before you selfless, because you cannot pour out of an empty cup and you cannot start having conversations unless you got your own self in order. Then I start participating and pouring my resources into other people, such as what I already do in my communities, right? Which is one of the reasons why I said, why should I give a fuck about what's happening over in Uvalde, Texas, when I'm already focused on what's going on in Detroit, Michigan? That's my solution, is to focus individually on the communities that you're affected in, which is why I advocate for you getting more involved in what's going on in the local elections than the national elections. I don't care what CNN is saying. I don't care what Fox News is saying, and I do not care about what MSNBC is saying. I'm focused on the things that's locally being impacted, and I'm participating in that. I know my treasurer. I know my city council members. I know I am very much involved with what's going on in certain communities and neighborhoods. And on an individual level, I'm going to do my part. That's my solution.
Salute. Salute to you, bro. Ain't nothing wrong with your solutions. Anybody else got any solutions?
See, Anton, but that's just gonna take more time though, because that doesn't infringe on your privacy. That's the long work, right? And they're not trying to do that. They don't want the long
No
work.
one's trying to do that. They don't want to do that. My final solution, as it were, is first and foremost, I'm a Christian man, so Christ Jesus all day. We need more Christianity. We need more Christ in our lives in order to affect actual change in our families and neighborhoods. Secondly, to Anton's point, get my own family in order. Deal with your own family. You find that if you deal with your own, then that has a trickle down effect. Consistently in my neighborhood, I deal with my family and then I deal with the children. I have a park right across the street from my home. If I see them acting out, destroying, vandalizing, you better believe I got something to say. I'm not going to allow something like that to be proliferated within my neighborhood. Thirdly, like Anton said as well, deal with your local government. You know, they're building roads around me right now. And some of the roads I don't want, and a lot of my neighbors don't want. So instead of laying down and allowing it to happen, we go to the town hall meetings, we go to the county meetings, and we speak our mind and let them know what we do not want. Those are the things that need to happen. Those are the things that affect change in your livelihood, in your lifestyle, and in your community. And that's all I got.
Okay, my solution is, I believe it starts with self, the reflection in the mirror that you see. Been saying that pretty much all my life. Second, that I've been saying for a long time because I learned from some of the best, is local political arena is your arena because it affects you instantly more than national elections do. Number three for me is, if you go be about it, you got to do something about it. Just can't be about something you ain't willing to do something about it. Talk is good. It's good because it opens up the lines of communication and may give people information that may want to make them take that first step to do something about it. Second, let's say fourth, my solution is, when something is personal or affecting me, don't get in an entanglement conversation. And I do apologize if anybody who took my words or I said anything to offend anybody.
No,
I just
man, we
had a
having
death.
civil discourse. We ain't
I had a death in my family yesterday, and I don't had one
condolences, J Speed.
one every week, and I deal with that all the time. And a lot of that comes from people who struggle with drugs, and so.
Hey, my condolences, J Speed. I hope everything works out for you, big dog.
Oh, it's gonna work out, man.
But no, as far as on this platform, listen,
yeah,
I'm wrong a lot of times. We all having civil discourse, so it's not necessarily anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just having good conversations, and I think this is healthy. You know what I'm saying? So,
right.
Don't worry about it, big
Right.
dog. Lou,
I don't think
Antoine.
Okay, I just want to say this. I don't want to think people to think just because I'm conscious about things, I'm oversensitive about it. I've been in this struggle for over 42 years, man. And so I have never been on drugs myself, but I see where it affects our community, and I'm willing to step in and try to do some help.
Appreciate that, big dog. Lou,
right.
Antoine, what's your thoughts?
Condolences to you, Jay. I support you, brother. Your opinions are your opinions. They're strong opinions, and we're here to hear it and have a conversation about it. So I appreciate it. Antoine, thank you for having me on the platform. First time, I'll be back. And my solution is basically on what it's funny because we all agree on this one thing, right? Self and community. I think there will be a domino effect if you can work on yourself and your community. And you can't have community without family. So all these young boys that are running around here with guns, where the daddies at? Where the mommies at? And that's an important question. So I was raised in a two-parent household. If my dad sees me rolling around with a gun, he will go over and beat me up in front of all of y'all.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? And that's my Brazilian father. I mean, he doesn't care. He'll roll up just his bare hands and beat my ass. So that's where I'm at with it. Family is number one, and that's what we should be working on. And all the other noise, I believe I'm with Anton on this. We should ignore because we can't fix it anyway if we don't fix ourselves first. So that's me.
Antoine, any final thoughts, big dog?
Nah, that's about it. I just want to say thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on here today, voice my opinion. Just definitely good hearing everybody's input. And definitely, like everybody said, just focus on yourself, focus on your community. And I would hate to say this, but don't let the media, manipulate us and control us. That's pretty much it.
Thank you, my friends. I appreciate y'all for joining me and rocking out with me.
Thank you for having me.
Yep. Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Yeah. You have a great day.
You too, my friends. All right. And then there was Ton Dog. And then there's me. Listen, I appreciate y'all for continuing to rock with me, continuing to have this uncomfortable conversation and talk and chat with me. And we gonna kick it. I don't know what I'm going to do on a day-to-day basis, but I do know that it's important for us to be able to cook up, have a place where we can have civil discourse, agree, disagree, agree to disagree, and then continue to rock out and that hopefully somebody somewhere, somebody that's listening to this conversation can take away from it and move much more positively than they were had they not watched this specific live stream. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. If you are not a part of the Bag Chasers, please consider joining. That link is in the description. The Patreon members, we are doing great work. We have an upcoming meeting and a Patreon exclusive video dropping very, very soon. I'm back into the swing of things. I'm back into the groove. Anton ain't lost one step. You know what I'm saying? So we got that popping. If you need to kick it with me personally, email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com and we're going to get you scheduled for a personal meeting. Tomorrow I am live streaming here, and then I'm catching that flight straight out to the other side of the country. Yeah. But listen, I really do. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I think that I wouldn't be doing this if y'all wasn't here. You know what I'm saying? Well, maybe I would, but I wouldn't be doing it as effectively as I could. But thank y'all. Thank you to everybody that contributed to the platform, every super chat, everybody that did a Cash App, a PayPal. I thank you guys. I love you for always holding me down. And please subscribe. If you have not already subscribed to the platform, make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm on your way out the door. And I'm going to keep on cooking up for you. But I need y'all to do me one more thing before we get up out of here. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to do this by ourselves. We don't want to get rich by ourselves. We don't want to grow by ourselves. We are a community, and I'm over here building Wakanda. But not a Wakanda for black people, a Wakanda for everybody that's looking to go in a certain direction and have great character. I love you guys. God bless you. I hope you have a phenomenal day and that we added value to your life on your way into going into your afternoon. I'm going to talk to you guys later. Peace.